too fast, like it's all just going to overflow. So like your body can only process so many calories at once. You know, your body's going to take the nutrients it needs to process that. Everything else is just overflow. It's going to be stored as fat. And so your body holds on to all those excess calories. So if you break your meals up and have 5 to 6 small meals a day rather than 3 large ones or 2 large ones, you know, you're giving your body what it needs at the right time, and you're keeping your body out of fat storage mode, keeping it in fat burning mode. So, yeah, the other thing is if you're skipping meals, you know, especially like some people like might not have dinner, and then skip lunch, you know, they're busy at work, so they don't even eat until they get home at night, and then having like a huge meal, or like just sitting on the couch eating and eating. You might not even realize how much they're actually eating. But when you go for a long period of time without eating, your body thinks it's starving. So when you do get the calories, like it wants to hold on to all those calories and store it as fat. So you want to try to have 2 to 3, you want to have 5 to 6 small meals a day. You know, have like, you can have your three main meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then have some snacks in between. And so you're eating every 2 to 3 hours. Yeah, you give your body steady supply of nutrients, keeping it out of fat storage mode and in fat burning mode. So, the other thing that you really need to think about is not just how much you eat in terms of volume. Like you want to think about how dense in calories is that food. You know, because there's basic nutrition. For protein, there's 4 calories per gram. For carbohydrates, there's 4 calories per gram. But fat has 9 calories per gram. The fat's a lot more dense. You know, so fat has more than twice as many calories as carbs or protein. So, like you can have a little piece of cheesecake that has a huge number of calories because it has such a high fat content. But you could have a salad like this big and still have less than half the same amount of calories. You know, for like if you ate a Big Mac, it's like 560 calories. I think there's like 56 grams of fat. It's like 39 grams of fat. It's a very high number. But to get that same number of calories from eating broccoli is just carbs. You know, to get the same number of calories, you have to eat 4 pounds of it. Or if you were going to just eat lettuce, like you'd have to eat 10 pounds of lettuce to get the same amount of calories that's in that Big Mac. You know, so you can actually eat a lot and feel full. Like you should never feel full. I mean, you should never feel hungry. I hope you feel full. Like you never want to be hungry, because if you're hungry, then you're going to be tempted by like whatever's there. You know, you're going to be more tempted by foods that aren't healthy for you. So, like if you want to stick with foods that are high in volume but low in calories. You know, which is why you want to avoid fat. But then with, when it comes to carbohydrates, people term it as good carbs and bad carbs, but there's fast digesting carbs and slow digesting carbs. Like fast digesting carbs is basically just sugar, and a lot of things are just kind of equivalent. Like your body breaks it down so quickly that it's kind of the equivalent of sugar. So if you eat, and sometimes it's deceptive. Like I always see pretzels, it says, like real big on the package, it'll say 0 fat. You know, but 0 fat doesn't mean it's health food. Like it's just white flour. Like white flour is pretty much the equivalent of sugar. It's absorbed rapidly into your body. You get a spike in insulin, and your body takes what insulin does. It takes all that excess sugar in your bloodstream and dumps it in your fat cells. So every time you're eating things like that, if you're eating that by itself, like you're putting your body in a fat storage mode. Like your body's just taking those calories and you're just storing right on your body. You know, but like slow digesting carbs, you are high in fiber. Things that are high in fiber, like pretty much all fruits and vegetables, are high in fiber. You know, like one of the best sources of fiber is like beans. Like beans are pretty awesome because they're high in protein, high in fiber, high in iron, and you know, fiber, besides slowing down absorption into your bloodstream, like it makes you, it actually swells up in your stomach and makes you feel full. So if you're eating high fiber foods, it's going to make you feel full, keep you from getting hungry. And because it's slow digesting, it gives you a steady supply of energy into your bloodstream. So, you know, fat, like you want to avoid fat as much as possible. Like you need some fat in your diet, and there are some fats that are healthy, like omega-3, you know, oils that come from fish and walnuts, avocados contain healthy fats, peanut butter, nuts, you know, has healthy fats in it. So you want to have some of that in your diet. And you actually need some fat. Like you can't cut fat out completely because some vitamins actually require fat to be absorbed into your body. There's water-soluble vitamins and fat-soluble. So like when you're eating salad, you sprinkle a little bit of olive oil on it. It actually helps the absorption of the vitamins and minerals from that. You know, so you don't want to avoid fat altogether, but you want to get, you know, obviously if you're trying to lose weight, like you want to cut out as much fat as you can. Just focus on having healthy fats.
I think I have a year's supply of fat already, so I don't need any fats.
You know, and sometimes I hear people tell me, people that I'm training are like, well, but I don't eat that much. You know, and it's not always, sometimes like, well, first of all, like sometimes you don't even realize how much you're eating, especially because you can eat mindlessly. If you, like how many times have you opened a bag of chips and thought, I'm just going to have a couple, and you're sitting there watching TV, and next thing you know, like, there's no more in the bag. You know? I think pretty much everybody's done. I've done that. Like sometimes you just don't even realize like how much you're eating. And you know, this is actually a really interesting study where they were showing a movie and they gave everybody free popcorn, but they put it in different size containers. And you know, the popcorn was purposely horrible. Like it was like 4 days old. You know, they asked people about the taste. Someone said it tasted like the styrofoam foam packaging chips, and like, but they actually measured how much people ate, and like people still ate it just because they're in the movie theater. Like you're supposed to eat popcorn, like so they're sitting there eating, watching the movie, and they're not even aware of how much they're eating. But one thing that was really interesting about the study is the people that had the larger containers actually ate more just because it was in a bigger container. You know, and it was disgusting popcorn, and they said a couple people even complained and wanted their money back, even though and they forgot that it was actually free. You know, so then, you know, when people say, well, I don't eat that much, like it really matters what you're eating, because like I said, like certain foods are really dense in calories and low in nutrients. Like you want to focus on high volume, low calorie foods that are really dense in nutrients. And so if you just focus your diet. You know, if you didn't make any other changes, you just focus your diet, what you eat, on like raw materials that, you know, if you got rid of the processed food and you're, like the things that come from nature, like fruits, vegetables, if you filled up on that stuff, you know, cut out all the other stuff from your diet, it would have a huge impact on your health. Like, you know, with plant-based diet, like you want to have your protein and everything too, but like just having a plant-based diet, like you're getting all the nutrients, everything that your body needs. And you can eat, you can pretty much eat as much as you want, certain foods, and you know, you're not going to get an excess amount of calories, because like I said, like I use the example of the Big Mac, you could eat 10 pounds of lettuce, if you could fit that in your stomach, that's how much you'd have to eat to get the same number of calories. So people sometimes have the idea, like if you want to lose weight, I got to starve myself. But, you know, it's just not the case, and it's actually counterproductive, because that's kind of the thing about diets is, if you just say, I want to starve myself, and go on a diet, you know, it's something that's only, first of all, it's like only temporary. You know, you're not really treating the problem to begin with. What was the actual cause of the excess weight? You know, you're kind of treating the symptom rather than the cause. So, you know, you go on a diet and like, oh, I'm gonna starve myself, not really eating. Like, one, because you're not eating, like you're putting your body in a fat preservation mode. You know, so your body's actually storing the fat and wants to hold on to it. And the other problem with that is you're going to lose muscle mass at the same time. And if you lose muscle mass, your metabolism is going to be slower, because the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn even when you're at rest. It takes calories just to maintain muscle. So if your metabolism was right here, you're burning this many calories a day, you go on a diet, and you lose muscle, you know, say you lose 20 pounds, like 10 pounds is fat and the other 10 pounds is muscle, then your metabolism is going to be down here. So, and of course the diet is only something that's temporary and something that you can't stick with. You know, eventually you're going to get hungry and eventually you're going to eat. So because you have less muscle mass now, like when you go back to eating the way you were before, you're going to gain all the fat back and then some, because you're burning fewer calories than you were before. That's why you always hear about yo-yo diets. Like, diet can actually be counterproductive. You know, I really don't like to use the word diet because it has die in it. Like, you want a nutrition program that you can live with, you know, not something you can die from. So. Well, what I want to focus on now is like some things you can do to just kind of shape your path to success, you know, with your fitness goals. Like, you want to make it easy for yourself, as easy as possible for yourself. And there's things that you can do to control your environment. You know, like I mentioned with the movie popcorn. If you, like, they put the bigger popcorn, the nasty popcorn in bigger containers, like people still ate more of it. You know, that's one thing that you can do to shape your path for success. Like, if you put food, if you portion it out in smaller containers, if you use smaller plates, smaller bowls, you will actually eat less. You know, and when you have these giant bowls of stuff, like, of course you want to fill it up, and then you don't even realize how much you ate. And your brain actually uses visual cues to determine how much you ate. You know, determine when you're full. It's not just, when it gets signals from his stomach, but part of it is visual. You know, if you see this big plate, this big bowl of stuff, like, you actually want to eat it all, like you don't feel full. until you've already overeaten. You know, so one thing you can do is just put smaller portions and use smaller containers to put stuff in. And kind of related to that, like, don't eat stuff directly out of a bag. If you put it in a container, like, put the bag away, and then just eat a serving of it. You know, you'll have much better chance of actually controlling yourself. You know, because, you know, like I said, with, like, you open a bag of chips, like, oh, I just have a couple, next thing you know, like, the whole bag is gone. You know, because you don't even realize it, you're not even thinking about it. But if you had, I don't recommend eating chips, but if you just took a couple out, put the bag away, you go into another room, like, then you're just gonna eat what you have there. You know, the other thing that you can do is plan your meals for the week in advance, you know. So you know what you're gonna eat. Like, sit down, like, one day, like on a Sunday, like, whenever you have the most free time, like, plan your meals for the whole week, or at least for the next couple of days. Like, have an idea of what you want to eat. You know, then make a list. You know, when you go grocery shopping, like, you have the list, you know what meals you're gonna have, you have the shopping list in hand, so you know, okay, this is what I'm gonna buy. And, like, just stick to that list. You know, because if you go, you know, the other thing, like, don't go to the grocery store hungry, because then you're gonna be tempted, like, oh, that looks good, let me throw that in the basket. But, like, just shop from the list, stick to the list, you know, only buy those things on the list. And foods that you know are gonna be healthy for you, it's gonna be nutritious, things that are actually gonna nurture your body. Because if you buy, you know, one, if you don't have it in your house, if you don't have the junk food in your house, it's not there to eat. So you're not gonna be tempted by it. You know, so that's one thing you can do to control your environment. Just don't have it. Don't have it in your house. And, you know, sometimes not being aware of, like, how much you eat. Like, you actually, if you stop eating when you feel about 80% full, and then just have a glass of water, or, like, just engage in this conversation, like, do something, like, there's actually a delay from the signal from your stomach that you're full, to where your brain, like, actually recognizes, like, hey, I'm full. So if you stop when you're, like, 80% full, you give your brain a chance to catch up and say, hey, yeah, I'm actually full, I don't want any more food. You know, because, I mean, biologically, it makes sense, you know, because, like, if you didn't know when your next meal was coming, like, if you're, like, back in the day, like, you were scavenging, you know, hunting for your food, you know, you want to eat as much as you can right then because you're not sure when your next meal is going to be. So it kind of makes sense biologically, like, why that is, but in modern times where, like, you don't have to worry about where your next meal is going because food is plentiful, like, it can actually kind of backfire, you know, on you and cause you to overeat. So if you just eat till you're about 80% full and then take a break. Have a glass of water, or, you know, just have a conversation with somebody. And so it's good when you're having a meal with somebody, like, to actually sit down and talk. So that can actually benefit you in other ways as well. The other tip that I could give you is that a lot of times when, you know, you're in an office situation or, like, you're at work, and they have office parties or things like that, like bringing in food for, you know, it's kind of reward, like, it's usually, like, some kind of unhealthy food, like pizza, donuts, things like that. So one idea you can use to have on hand for that is, like, keep an emergency stash of healthy foods, you know, have, like, keep, like, apples in your car, or where you work, like apples, fruit, bananas, like whatever foods that you like some healthy vegetables. I think we're totally losing this.
Wonder malfunction. I got it.
I mean, then if you have, you're in a situation like that, like you have something you can eat, like somebody offers you donut, like, no, I got my apple, I'm good. You know? And plus, if you have healthy foods always on hand, you're more likely to eat them. You know? And if you're in a situation where you can't get a full meal, like at least you have something where if I'm feeling really hungry right now, like I have something, like you have something on hand for a snack. You can actually eat something healthy, and you don't have to run to the vending machine and get a bag of chips and cookies and crackers and, usually vending machines, but they don't have good choices in there. Like they have vending machines here, and there's nothing I would actually eat in there. But if you have foods, if you always have healthy foods available, you're more likely to eat them. Because this is not just about you listening to me talk, like, I want you to actually get something valuable out of this. So we're going to do a little exercise and just handle these sheets up. Can you hand up kind of shoulder?
We have some.
Yeah, I think there are plenty of pens.
Once you're doing this sheet, right, giving you a lot of different ideas, covered a lot of ground in this seminar so far. Like I want you to take just one action, one thing that you're willing to commit to, take action to lead a healthier life. Just choose one thing, write that down. And then, like below that, on a scale of 1 to 5, how confident are you that you can stick to that action on a consistent basis for the next 30 days? 1 being not at all confident, 5 being absolutely confident. Every small change that you make, it all accumulates. Kind of starts just like a snowball. Like you start rolling a snowball, keep rolling and rolling, eventually it's a giant boulder. Like, so those small changes can add up to have a big effect. If you start small, like just commit. Sometimes it's scary to think like where you have to make like a huge change. Like sometimes you just break it down and commit to one thing. Say, okay, I'm going to do this. This is something that I can stick to. Start with that. And once you got that down, you move on to the next thing. Looks like everybody's done. Let's open up to questions and answers now. Anybody has any questions?
What is the average calorie goal for somebody? Is this a way to height or?
Well, it depends. And really what you want to start with is where you're at now. And go from there. Because like no one could actually tell you like this is how many calories you should be eating a day. Like you can make a guesstimate, but really makes more sense. Like if you want to lose weight, find out how many calories you're eating a day right now. And there's a lot of easy ways to do it. If you use like MyFitnessPal, there's a lot of different apps now. Like you can put on your phone where you just enter the food in there. Like you can even scan a bar. If you eat something in a package, you can scan a barcode. It puts all the calories in there. Like so, really good approach is just take an average of how many calories. Like do it for a week, and then like take your average for that week. Because some days you eat more, some days you eat less, depending on what you eat. Like take the average number of calories, and then try to take 500 calories a day off of that. If you want to lose weight. If you were trying to like bulk out, if you're trying to build muscle, you know, we wanted to eat, and you want to add like 500 calories. And then kind of track it from there. You know, so you were actually, you know, like, do that for a couple weeks, you know, see if you're losing weight or gaining weight, if that's what you're trying to do. And then kind of reevaluate it. You know, if you're not getting results from that, then you want to take off a few more calories. You know, and like, it's not, you know, when we talk about cutting calories, it doesn't mean eating less. Like, just change what you eat. And you can eat the same amount where you feel full, feel satisfied. You don't have to starve yourself. Like, you can, there's ways you can get fewer calories and still feel full, satisfied, happy, and healthy. You know, like one thing that, like if you drink a lot of soda, if you drink soda, you're getting a lot of empty calories. You know, like they have in a vending machine here, the 20-ounce Pepsi. Like one of those is, I wish I had my bags with me, like there's 17 teaspoons of sugar, like in that one bottle. And it's something that, because you're drinking it, like you don't even think about the calories in it, because it's just a drink, and it's not making you feel full, you know, but because there's so much sugar in there, like you're getting a lot of calories, you know, so it could be simple things like that, just cutting out, you know, getting rid of the soda, like just having coffee or tea or something instead. So, any other questions?
In regards to weightlifting, I know some people I know will do have like, they might do like a light week, a medium week, or day, whatever, and then like a heavy week. And is that something you do? Better question. Have you found it to be effective? Like, do you know? Have you done that much or?
Well, I don't really follow that approach. Like it's, like you do want to go for like 3 or 4 weeks and then kind of back off a little bit.
Right.
Like, you know, what I like to do with clients and with my own workouts is like I push myself as hard as I can for like 4 weeks, like 4 to 6 weeks, and then maybe take 1 week where not necessarily, you know, not taking a week off from working out, but like instead I'll focus on cardio, like doing other things, like give my muscle a chance to recover, and then when I come back to it, then I feel refreshed and like ready to go. Like sometimes your body just needs that recovery period. And that's something, you know, when it comes to working out, a lot of people don't really focus on, like what really, it's not just what you do when you're doing the workout. You know, like you have to give your body time to recover, you know, because like your muscles grow when you're at rest. You know, when you're actually working the muscles, you know, you're just putting stress on them, but like, they need time to recover. Like, so if you know, it can actually be counterproductive doing too much. That's why I recommend, like, you normally want to do like 1 muscle group each week. You know, if you do it 2, 3 times a week, like sometimes with guys in the gym, like all they want to do is the muscles you can see in the mirror, like chest, biceps, and abs. Like, so they'll do that like every day, but they're not getting the results because they're just breaking the muscle down, never giving it time to recover, and they're not focusing on the whole body, and like they don't have a complete program to follow to get the results that they want.
Yeah, that makes sense. Definitely from my own experience, like I've always done the best with working a muscle twice a week, but I would always, my workouts were always medium to heavy, and I do that for like a year and a half, and there was never a light week. There might be a light day, but there was never a light week or anything like that. I think that may have been a large part of my problem.
May I ask, did you have any protein after your workouts?
Yeah, I would always.
Because protein builds your muscle when you have, it goes through recovery. And if you remember what Coach Chad actually said, is that 9 grams of fat versus 4 grams of, calories. 9 calories per gram of fat versus 4 protein. So you can have twice as much protein as you can with fat.
Right.
So you could just add more protein to your diet, less of the fat. You have more of the recovery, and you're not working out as hard because you have less fat in your diet as well. You're not counting that.
Yeah, that's kind of the other thing, like, nutrition is a really important part in that too. Because if you're not giving your body the nutrients that it needs, like if you're trying to build muscle, like, you have to give your body the protein that it needs to build that. And that was kind of like, when I started out, like, I didn't really get the results that I wanted until, like, I got that down. Like, I got to where I was consistent in the gym working out, but, like, I didn't have the nutrition dialed in right. And once I got that, then I started seeing results.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
I'm interested to hear what people have as their action statements if they don't mind sharing. Does anybody want to share an action statement?
I just wanna start walking.
That's what I
Sorry.
put down.
Start slowly.
Clear some on.
Yeah, get down
What's
to the
that?
computer
I'm
chair
prepping
once
my
in a while.
meals
Yeah.
for the week.
What's that again?
Prepping my meals for the week. That's my weakness.
Yeah, and, I mean, that's a good thing, like, you're shaping your path to success, like, make it easy for yourself. You know, and you can actually, like, you know what meals you have, like, you go to the grocery store, you have your meals planned out, you go to the grocery store, like, you can take all your vegetables, you know, chop them up, like, have everything ready, like, put all your meals, like, have everything ready, just put it in a container, and then, like, you just throw the meal in the microwave, you know? Heat it up.
Am I the only client?
No,
Okay.
but it's all good.
Okay.
Yeah, well, seems like, what, Ashley come
I
in,
know.
Deidre's out of town, Nan has a migraine, like, it's like everybody has something, but.
Well, and we do appreciate everyone for coming out despite the tornado and the storm warnings. We were